Hello and welcome to Channel Sport on Sunday. I am Ken Ochonogo. And I tell you, what else can we say? We say sport is back. Because football is back. We've been starved, and then we've been enduring, and we're looking forward to this day. And right now, as we speak, yes, it's I would say 24 hours ago, because yesterday afternoon, the Bundesliga kicked off. And that is what we're talking about here. The risk involved in all these, there is, I think somebody's talking about the balancing. You can't allow it to die. And then because the economy, everything is going down, the clubs need to survive. They said some of those clubs in the Bundesliga can go under if this thing moved on, to June, July. They won't be able to, to sustain, the paycheck of the players and other bills that they have to pay. And then you also look at the health risk. So they're saying, look, you can score a goal, but you don't hug when you are setting the wall. A lot of these things that when we see them, we say, I don't know how practicable so, because at the end of the day, some guy just went to and after scoring the goal, my guy, how do you do that? That adrenaline that is flowing in you. Can you stop yourself? The excitement, that group, the camaraderie that comes in when you score, you want to, celebrate together. But it is the sign of the times that, what we are trying to know how to learn, how to live with the COVID times. And that is what it is. So it is me. And when it is me, yes, it is the time for Channels Kids Cup. It was supposed to be, the time for Channels Kids Cup. By now, the international teams would have lined up. I would have been counting down to the 21st of May. They say, yes, on that day, we would have kicked off the 12th edition of the Channels Kids Cup. Uninterruptedly since 2009, we've been doing it year in, year out. It is the festival of football for kids in Nigeria, kids under 13, kids who are in school, and I tell you, that is what it is supposed to be. But because it is not taking place, because it has not taken place, we've not cancelled. Unlike other sporting events that people are saying, we are cancelling this, we are rescheduling, we've kept quiet. We deliberately kept quiet because we still believe somewhere in our hearts, hoping that, yes, the 12th edition will still take place in 2020. So you pray with us, you hope with us, you feel that, yes, in the next 2-3 months, if we can overcome this, why not? Why shouldn't we have the 12th edition of Channels International Kids Cup? So we'll look at we'll take back and see what happens in the previous editions. We shall look at that. We shall look at the football calendar. Yes, the new football calendar, because instead of ending, it is restarting. We just said the Bundesliga have started. Last week, we gave you a list of nations and when it was supposed to start. And this week, we have added the big four has been added. Yes, the big three added to the Bundesliga, because the English League saying we may start on so and so date. The Serie A said so. The Spanish La Liga also said, this is when we may start. So it's all, they've said, we're going to start on so and so date, but everything, there is always that clause. When the government said it is okay for us to do so, because sports is not in isolation. Football is not in isolation with whatever transpiring in the society. So we'll move from that, we'll look at Formula One. Formula One, I mean, it was this kind of movement, This guy moves to this vacated that seat, another one gets to that, another guy. So there was a movement, first and foremost, there was somebody left, Ferrari. And then it's a big gun to win the Formula One 4 years in a row. It's not a mean feat. And that takes, when you have won even 4, it tells you that, you're among the top 5 winners of the Formula One championship. So he's a big fish. And then he left Ferrari, and then they went for somebody else from to join Ferrari. Another one moved again from Renault, to McLaren, from McLaren to McLaren to Ferrari, and then so we look at it. Jimmy's here. Jimmy, we talked about it, and they let us understand what is happening there. And I tell you, somebody even there in the Formula One was just voted as the richest sport person in Britain. I tell you this, £224 million It's a driver for driving. And I tell you this. Just pray that you can find what is good for what God, when we were created by God, just pray that you can find what God said, this is what we are meant to do. Because it is not rocket science. The simplest of things are the ones that pays most. So Formula One there was saying, yes, Hamilton, it's worth that much. He made about 37 million last year. So we look at it as part of Formula One. We look at tennis. Tennis says till July 31st, there won't be anything. Maybe from 1st of October, 1st of August, we may have. But for now, they said, we are not doing anything yet. So we'll look at the implications and what Djokovic said, because I know Jimmy also is also around. He will say, sometimes he agrees with us. Sometimes he will tell you, if Federer, okay. So we look at the national sport policy, which is the big one. Last week we spoke with the chairman, the CEO, yes, the CEO and founder of Making of Champions, Mr. Bamba Kone. We spoke with him on Skype. And I tell you this, today we did the coup. We brought him here, and then we're looking at the role of scholarships in that build-up to what we talk about the sports industry. I mean, the sports industry has to do with those who are in sports. It has to do with, choosing sport as a career, and also the capacity, the building of, going, get a marine education and your talent and getting to the top by that combo. So we're looking at it, how he's doing it in his own organization, because it's an example. Here we don't talk about theory. Tell us, how did you do it? Where are they? How did they get there? Is it an impossible task? Why are others not doing it? Basically, that is what we're looking at. But then that document is there. They said that document should have been upgraded maybe every 8 years, every 10 years. The first one was in 2000. And so by 2019, that document would have been updated. But it is just a document. Jimmy has been talking about sport policy, sport policy, sport policy. So we told you we'll bring that sport policy so that you see what it is. It's a 25-page document. We'll be having that. We'll be having extras on that particular document as we go on. So without much though, my guys are in the house. Just Jimmy is here and Bamba is here. But let's start with Jimmy first before we talk to Bamba. Jimmy,
great time to
we have the sport policy.
we have it too. It's a great time to be here.
Yeah.
And who else to discuss the sports policy? Also with us, Bamba Kone.
Yeah.
So. Who did the honors? Yes,
Bambo. I mean, sometimes I don't like this nostalgia thing.
Yeah.
When you look back and you believe last year we were better, the years before we were better. I mean, you are supposed to be progressive. Look like, you look forward to the future with hope. Yeah. So when you get to that future and then there is more despondency, and then you now say, let me look back, and then you know what it is like. You can't throw away scholarship as the bone, when we succeeded, when we did very much in athletics and other things, it is scholarship. It is college scholarship, university scholarship, probably outside this country. I mean, your guys are doing so. You are doing it. I mean, I don't know how. I don't know how it is, but there is a magic. I'm not saying you should tell people to put the secret of your trade, but this is, we're talking about that. We are at, I'm not saying we are at a crossroad, but we are in such of a situation where we do not know how to move forward. We're a little bit stagnant. There are some water in the ocean, little pockets of water somewhere there. But for us to have a stream, for us to have, I'm not about a delusion. I'm not about a flood for us to swim in and say we are okay. I mean, something needed to be done, and there needs to be a clear roadmap. There is this document, like I said, we have extras from that at the sports policy. But before we look at these programs, looking from what we talked about last week, taking it from there, your trip to Jamaica, you said something here when we interviewed you last week. You said the stadium in Jamaica, the crowds that came to watch secondary school athletics was more than people that watch our Super Eagles. I don't know. You said so. So I mean, how you said there was a turning point in Jamaica. There was a time where they said, we're not doing it right. This is how we're going to get it. Briefly, before we look at these issues and then take the issue, how did that happen?
Thanks, Ken, for having me back on the show. Jamaica was really the inspiration behind what we're doing at Making of Champions. We went and we saw what they were doing. And, as I mentioned then, they've had a 110-year history of this secondary school championships. And now what they decided to do about 20 years ago was, look, instead of letting all our kids go to the American collegiate system, which is a good path, let us create a separate path for them at home that can help them to win when it matters the most, win at the Olympics. If you notice in the 80s and 90s, Jamaica and Nigeria were the same. Bronze medal at the Olympics, silver medal at the Olympics. The Americans, the Canadians, the Brits dominated. But in the late 90s, Jamaicans, they got together and said, well, no, we can also dominate and win at the Olympics. And the moment they decided to keep their athletes at home, train them in Jamaican schools, Jamaican universities, everything Jamaican, that's when we got the world records for Usain Bolt, for Asafa Powell. And that's what created, the Jamaican, the last 20 years of Jamaica on the world stage.
Okay, so they came in and said, this is what we want to do. We want to go back to the grassroots. We want to look at this our school system, and then did they pump money? Did they build infrastructure? I mean, how did they go about it primarily? Can we briefly take that too?
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's important to build our people before even infrastructure.
Yeah.
So track and field particularly, it's quite easy to do. You just need an open field, and you need people to be able to run.
Yeah.
Eventually, you need a gym. And yes, you need some good facilities in that gym. But so long as you have coaches who know what they're doing, World Athletics trained coaches, licensed coaches, then that's what is needed before infrastructure. I like to tell people that Usain Bolt, his club, Racers Track Club at the University of West Indies in Kingston, they didn't build the Usain Bolt track there.
Wait. Usain Bolt attended a Jamaican university.
So the track clubs, the top track clubs in Jamaica are located at the top universities. So Racers Track Club is located at University of West Indies. That's where Usain Bolt, Johan Blake trained. Then you have at University of Technology, also in Kingston, you have MVP Track Club, which is where Asafa Powell, Shelley and Fraser Price train. Going there, we got to learn about how did these clubs get started. The coach of the club literally went to University of Technology and said, look, we need a place to train. In exchange, we'll train some of your students as well. And that's how they got started. So the development and investment in the people has to come before the investment in the infrastructure.
You develop the people, you get that mindset that this is what we want to achieve. There are a lot of track and field coaches in Nigeria. And I know in Lagos State alone, we have University of Lagos, we have Lagos State University, we have Yaba College of Technology, we have Adeno Gunsaya College of Education, we have Laspotec at Isolo. So we have about 7, 8 good higher institutions that can partner with these coaches. Give your facility. Yaba Tech has a lovely facility. Yeah. Same thing with University of Lagos. They have the tracks there. You can partner with coaches in the university, and then they now train. Because this sport policy, there is something that they said there. They said a minimum. I will read it. That every student must have a minimum of 4 unit course before they leave the university in sports. I don't think that has been inculcated. I said the document is a bit porous. It was, there are certain things here that we can pick out and see what we want to do. We'll come back to this. Bambo is in the house. Jimmy is in the house. But let's look at the story making the round. The Bundesliga has just returned Jimmy. And Dortmund on fire. Haaland. A particular club will biting their nails. You understand? For a while, because of 20 million, they allow Haaland. They didn't take him. I tell you, that boy is a goal machine. But Jimmy, take the results first. Take the results.
Defeated Augsburg at home. That was a 1-2 loss home to Augsburg. Borussia Dortmund discombobulated Schalke 04-4-0. Fortuna Düsseldorf 0-0 draw, played out with Paderborn. I think that's where Jamil Collins lost.
Yeah, Jamil Collins,
Hoffenheim
lost home to Hertha Berlin.
That is surprising, 0-3.
Yes, Ademola also plays for Leipzig. They played a 1-1 draw with Freiburg.
Bayern, they are still a point ahead of Dortmund, even after that 4-0 demolition of Schalke 04 by Borussia Dortmund. But, Bayern, I like this because when somebody, that is today's fixture, Cologne will take off Mainz. Then Union Berlin. Yes, that is the match against Bayern Munich this afternoon. And then Werder Bremen will take on Bayer Leverkusen. That is later today. So Bayern are still a point up. They have that match in hand. If they win that today, that will take them
55 points.
That will take them to 58.
Yeah.
That will take them there.
It will take them to 58.
To 58, and then I go over there. Okay, we started this last week. We said football was returning. Now you can get it because we told you Bundesliga will be coming back on the 16th. So let's see the revised schedule, because some of those ones still stand, but we added these ones. Let's see how it's going to be, because from May 23rd, Hungary comes back.
Then on the 25th,
yes,
Czech Republic.
It will be
30th
Czech.
of May,
Okay.
Croatia, Israel, Portugal, and Serbia.
Okay.
Whilst the Bulgarian League will start on the 5th of June. It has to be starting afresh. Then the next season, 25th of July, Switzerland, 8th of June, La Liga, and England and Turkey. 12th of June.
All right, so that is it. Like you said, the Bundesliga started already on 16th of May.
Yep.
That's what we are saying. And then when you look at it, on the 30th of May, you are going to have maybe Croatia, Israel, Portugal, and said that is where they want to start. Then I want to come back to where that is England. England is tentative June 12th.
June 12th, yeah.
Even La Liga tentative June 12th because the government has not approved.
Yep.
But then the Serie A starting on June 13th if the government. But the government said there is a caveat.
Yep.
That if one person in a team tests positive, they will quarantine the whole team. So for 14 days. So if you quarantine the whole team, what now happens? That means they won't be playing.
Well, at this point in time, it's quite difficult. And that's why I said you just have to look at what's happening in the Bundesliga to determine what will really happen. Because there's still enough time between now and June 13th, where they'll be resuming to really understand what has happened in the Bundesliga. For me, it's like a test case for everybody. They look at the Bundesliga and they think that if they really can get it going on, then they may be able to relax some of their rules.
Jimmy, what happened in Italy is not the same thing as what happened in Germany. The Germans did a lot of testing. General testing. They didn't wait until they whatever it is. So they were able to cut down in the wet. But in Italy, I mean, you understand that at a point that was the epicenter of this whole thing. At least the first epicenter in Europe, where it was ravaging. So
especially when
of course,
Dybala was coming in.
We want football, but if because of the contagious nature of this, if one player tests positive in your team, we are going to pack all of you.
It's difficult, really.
And we will quarantine you. Means the matches involving that team, what will not happen within that period? The teams are playing them. I mean, Baba, what do you think will happen?
Well, I mean, I think there was a lot of talk, even in the US, about do we lock down all the teams and all the support staff in a certain location until the league is over. But obviously, that's not really practical for most sports. So, I mean, as Jimmy said, it's really going to be, Germany is going to be a test case to see what is going to happen in Germany when if one player tests positive. What are they going to do?
At least because they didn't insert that clause that the Italian government is saying, but it's in Germany, like you are saying. Let us see. But there is a coach that went to buy toothpaste, and they say you cannot.
Definitely.
They say you break quarantine rules. The guys I need to buy toothpaste for goodness sake.
Honestly, I feel that a lot of these quarantine rules may be relaxed. There will be some kind of flexibility because at the end of the day, there's a lot of commercial exposition, a lot of money is involved.
Yes.
You know, a lot is at stake, especially when it concerns livelihoods of members of, various clubs, the club personnel, the players. Everybody wants to see sports back, but there's a huge price to pay just in case everything goes all right. We don't want it to go all right.
All right. Everybody wants to see sports back, want to see football back. Football is back. But we are saying, let us see how the German test, because I mean, it is I kind of a test of that. How do I say it? Upload their conviction in them, their belief to say, okay, we can do it.
Yeah.
We've done enough at this other side, but then we can't allow, we can't give in. That is the human spirit. We must dare it and see how
they don't like to go down. The Germans.
And so they accepted that particular example and said, let us say that it's going to happen, but we just hope that there is this. There is one word I don't like hearing: spike. You understand? After flattening the curve, a lot of the lexicon for word has improved now because a lot of things that we've not been using before. At least some of that, even coronavirus, they say it has been existing very, very, very long time. It has been the novel, string that is just new. Okay, so let's leave football for now. We should come back to that, but let's go to Formula One. Okay, well, yeah, I'm being told that yes. Let's go on a break. And when we come back, Bamboy is still in the house. And then Shall maybe open the lines. Let's stay with us. Okay, you're welcome back. It is the Channel Sport on Sunday. Before we went on break, we discussing what has been happening over there. Bambo is still with us. Like we said, he was here last. He was not here last week, but we talked with him last week. That he's here in the house now. Bambo, before we look at this national sport policy, before we look at this national sport policy, I really want to ask you a simple question. Now, you said what all the things you guys are doing at Making of Champions, the inspiration came after you visited Jamaica. And we're saying, can we replicate, what they have there and have here? How long has this journey? You were in Jamaica some 7 years back.
Yes.
Between then and now, I mean, when did this thing take off? And then, what are your targets? Have you been able to meet your primary targets?
Yes.
And what, how will that also rub up on Nigerian sport itself?
Well, it's been quite a journey since we went to Jamaica in 2013 for CHAMS. We eventually started the MOC Track Club in 2016.
Yeah.
We had Olympic medalist Deji Aliyu as our head coach come in at that time. Since then, Gloria Lodzi has also joined as our hurdles coach. So we started training athletes in 2016. And really, the story of Making of Champions cannot be told without the scholarship, because the scholarship launched that year. We were opportune to have some companies that were able to come in and support those athletes. And, one thing that's really interesting is if you look at all the athletes who have been supported by different sponsors, every single one of them is either a national finalist, a national medalist, a national champion, or an African champion. They've all made those strides. And, it's thanks to companies like NNPC and SNEPCO, Shell, who came in 2016, sponsored an athlete, increased the support to a couple of athletes a couple of years ago. And those two athletes, Emmanuel Ojeli, he's the national 400-meter champion this year. Favor Pekpe, he's the national junior 200-meter champion. So their stories cannot be told without these sponsors. People like Joy Udo Gabriel, who is the national 100-meter champion, Jerry Jakpa, who is ranked number 2 for Nigeria in 200 meters. They were also supported by ACO Group in 2016. So it's because of the support of these companies that we've been able to get as far as we have. If you look at it now, probably about 10 of our athletes are in university, about 8 of them are in University of Lagos alone.
Okay, you have 8 athletes at the University of Lagos.
Yes.
And then the other 2 also at
University of Ibadan and University of
Port Harcourt.
Yeah.
Okay. You have private companies who are, helping to give the scholarship. Is there any understanding with the university? Is there the university also giving a part of the scholarship, or your sponsors are doing all the funding and everything for these athletes?
I think it must be said that universities in Nigeria are doing what they can to support athletes. I mean, I think a lot of great examples, I would say Uniport, IFE, FUTA, Uniben, they all have programs that help and support athletes. What we have done, is to say, look, the universities can only do so much. Let's connect these athletes to a company, to a sponsor who can give them the added help that they need. In Jamaica, what they started with was they said to the universities, okay, let's just use your facility.
Yeah, okay.
Then eventually, the universities saw value in supporting these athletes and started giving some of the athletes a higher level of support, so free accommodation, for example. Today, if you go to the University of Technology in Kingston, what you meet when you walk in is the home of world-class athletes, right? So that is something that the universities in Jamaica have realized that, these athletes are the best in the world record holders. And I think that's the journey we're on now, with institutions like University of Lagos, who've been a great partner. Joy Udo Gabriel was our first athlete in Unilag. The year she won the Commonwealth bronze medal was 2018. The year after that, Jerry Jakpa and Kelechi Christian, they joined Unilag, and Shegun Aigbe is there as well. And then we have about 5 athletes that got admission this year to Unilag. So it's a growing partnership, and I think Unilag has always had that put value on athletes and supporting athletes. And I think it's a mutually beneficial partnership. The Vice Chancellor of Unilag even hosted Joy when she came back.
Wow.
From the Commonwealth Games.
You didn't send us the clip. No. You didn't have this clip. There was the clip of Ese Brume that went viral.
Yeah.
When she went back to her school. Yeah. And if Unilag also hosted Joy, you send us the clip. That is what we are talking about here. I mean, I'm not saying because that is my school. I'm saying any Nigerian school. No. I'm saying any Nigerian university. Even that does that. It's because we're talking about the ripple effect.
Yes.
That I mean, I know when we did that, we called that Nigerian university. Look, this is what somebody's been in Cyprus. I mean, we're talking about Nigeria here now. So if Joy has been here, you understand? Joy has been here. As a junior, she was still a junior here. Joy was our guest here.
Yep.
Now, so if if she comes back and you say we are hosting him, but boy, you send us the clip. We must, that is what we make other universities to also do same. That if you recognize one, it is a question of giving award. If you recognize one, other will say, we'll move it that way. But
don't forget that Channels Kids Cup, most times the winning teams get honored. And by the time the other state that doesn't wins to the next edition, they almost always host and we always have the clips. So I think it's just right for universities that have done this to always, have some of these things out there so we know they are already supporting sports the right way. And
they're the same thing because we also need to mention our own sponsors too, because for those who have been winning first, second, third, emerging in the Kids Cup, the T.Y. Danjuma Foundation has been giving them monetary awards. But all that awards don't come in terms of cash. Like in your school, they give you an award if you win 3 million or 5 million. This is how give us a project in your school. T.Y. Danjuma, the foundation will go over there and do it. So benefiting from Channel Kids Cup, beneficiaries have been getting that, and then when they do that project, when they want to launch it, they call us and we look at those projects, which is what they are trying to do. Okay, let us look at first some of the objectives of the School Sports Festival. Let's start, before we go over the objective, let's look at their vision that here. They said that sport is an integral formal system of education. This is essential for total development of an individual. Sport shall therefore be part of school curriculum. That is the thing. Say, sport shall be part of school curriculum from nursery school to the university level. You understand, which is a very good objective. They said in order to have all-round development of the youth sports, shall be offered as compulsories. I want to say this. In order to have an all-round development of the youth, sports shall be offered as compulsory subjects in school. You understand? We used to have physical health education and stuff like that. And at nursery, whatever I say, all primary and secondary schools shall have playgrounds. All primary and secondary schools shall have playgrounds for sport as a condition for approval for their establishment. We've not been following this.
Definitely.
I want to repeat that again. That is 462 of there. He said, all primary and secondary schools shall have playgrounds for sports as a condition for approval, for their establishment. Okay, they said no pupils or students, including those in tertiary institutions, shall suffer any penalty or discrimination for participating in sports. Of course, there used to be, that is, okay, you are seeing it there. No people, or students, including those in tertiary institutions, shall suffer any penalty or discrimination for participating in sports. Okay, it said that all schools shall establish a structured sporting program which covers every student except those exempted on medical grounds. But then, look, that is, Bambo, can you read that last one? Bambo, read that last one.
Student studying in a higher institution of learning shall offer a minimum of a 4-credit unit course in sports.
In every Nigerian student, all Nigerian universities. I mean, are we getting this? This is in the 2009. This is the sport policy. This is it. It said any student studying in any higher institution of learning shall offer a minimum of a 4-unit. You understand? A 4-credit unit course in sports. That is each and every of us. I don't think this. I don't think that.
Definitely not.
So I suppose this means that the university has to offer those credits to the students.
Yeah, you fashion out a course.
A course,
I think that this general study that they normally
GNS.
do, GNS. I mean, like they say you want to understand the culture.
Yeah.
You know, if you're in arts, you probably do that in sciences, and if you're in sciences, you know, you do general studies.
Definitely.
So I mean, that is where it can be inculcated. You understand that there is a minimum of a 4-unit credit, you know, a 4-credit unit course that every Nigerian student must, in order for you to say, yes, you understand sports in Nigeria and be part of it.
This policy is 11-year-old now.
Right
now, it's about
to be reviewed.
It's about to be reviewed.
Yes.
And I think that moving forward, this should properly be looked into.
Yeah.
Because that's the only way you can have 4-6, the entire 4-6 being properly articulated. The one that does say that we should have PHE, let's just call it PHE, in all schools. What about playgrounds? What about the 5% that we normally talk about, even at local government level?
I found out that 5% is not really the 5%.
Exactly.
Because that is what we will come to that.
Well, you know, I think this is very well intentioned. It's very clear that if Nigeria is doing this, then everything in sports will transform. But, you know, I really want to zero in on that offering courses in sports at a higher institution.
Yes.
It is critical. You know, if I give the example of Jamaica again, people like Shelley-Ann Fraser-Price, she was an Olympic champion in university.
Yeah.
You don't hear that part of the story. But the universities actually offer courses that allow them to be a world-class athlete and get a degree at the same time. You know, and we have that situation now where you have people like Joydo Gabriel, Jerry Jackpa, who are already traveling to Europe. They were there last year. They go, come back. They still have to maintain their place in University of Lagos.
Yes.
You know, so definitely what would be great would be to start seeing Unilag and some other schools that have these high potential world-class athletes start creating courses that can really help them fashion a professional career side by side with getting a degree from a great institution.
Okay. All right. We'll still look at that because we shall look at there's 15-point objectives. We'll take that the national that's objective, which is 2.5. We'll take that. But before then, let's come back to you. I know it is not it's not been easy because like we say, and then for us to look at, I've just said something here that Lewis Hamilton. It's a driver. It's a driver.
The way you say it is very good.
He's a driver, and he earns 200 and it's worth 224 million pounds. And in 1 year alone, he earned that is last year alone, he earned 37 million pounds. 37 million pounds. Is the richest sportsman in Britain. He's not a footballer, because you see, we said football is our national sports. And I, because of our passion, our love for it. But football is supposed to be carrying other sports as it is supposed to be by our passion and earn. It's like in a family, the well-to-do will take care of the other ones. But as it is, football is still tied to the apron string of government. Because the Premier League, which is supposed to be the number one, is supposed to be what we are showcasing to the world.
We do have a sport industry. I would say it's a very nascent sport industry. You know, we have a long way to go. You know, the analogy I like to draw is when footballers like Neymar can be bought straight out of Brazil for 50 million pounds.
Exactly.
And in Nigeria, we will celebrate if we can sell a player for $100,000.
Yes.
You know, and I think that is that's what we need to start looking at. We looked at Jamaica in athletics. We need to look at Brazilian football. We need to look at other developing or emerging economies and look at what they're doing and just do it. You know, one of the problems we have in Nigeria is that we think we can take shortcuts and get the same results, but it's never possible. You know, one strategy that we like to espouse at Making of Champions is something we call 3Ds: discover, develop, deliver medals. So first you've got to discover talent.
Yeah.
Then you've got to develop, and then you've got to deliver medals. But we like to skip develop. We like to skip.
We just want to discover
because of momentous gains.
And immediately.
Yeah. You know, and that's where the hard work needs to happen in every sport in Nigeria. If we're not willing to invest in development, we are never going to see the results that we want.
And the key question is, who are the we? Because at the end of the day, it looks like we like to bug our administrators without onerous responsibility that they are supposed to get things working. But I think it also starts with us. It starts with what we do in our homes. It starts with what we do, what we make sure as parents we get going for our children in their various schools.
Okay.
Because we talked about the schools. What exactly is the clamor for parents to ensure as much as possible the schools that their children attend? What's the clamor that they have got sporting facilities? What's the clamor that the sporting curriculum is being adopted in those schools? If those things are not there, then a part of the development of the child, be it male child, be it female child, might just be, found wanting kind of.
Okay. But while we're still waiting for you guys to join the conversation, I think probably we'll just let's briefly go through the objectives of the national sport policy. If it is ready, we can take them. There are about 15 of them, so we'll run through it as fast as possible so that we don't have to get that. It said that the national sport policy shall seek to fulfill the following objectives. A, to develop sports to become an instrument of national unity. Utilize achievements in sports to boost the country's image in the community of nations. Develop athletes, coaches, technical officials, sports scientists, sports medicine practitioners, and administrators to be among the best in the world. Attract major international sporting events to Nigeria and exploit their benefits for tourism and economy. I think we'll look at that. Create enabling environment for sports manufacturing industries. Okay. Use sport as an avenue to minimize antisocial behavior. Because when they engage in sports, they won't be engaging in all those criminal activities and whatever. It's a promote sport as a means to generate employment and increase wealth. To give opportunity to the physical challenged person to participate in sports of their choice. Encourage private sector investment in all sports, in all sectors of sports. Ensure utilization of information technology to collect data for the effective planning and dissemination of information. Encourage the provision of recreational and sporting facilities by the 3 tiers of government. Ensure adequate and proper funding of sports at all levels. Promote school and international sports development competitions at all 3 tiers of government. Ensure that sport as an integral part of the curriculum of education institution at all levels. Encourage mass participation in sports and recreation with a view to using exercise for the improvement of the general health and fitness of citizens. So, all right, we have our first caller on the line. Hello.
Yeah, good afternoon, Ken.
Good afternoon.
How are you?
Fine. And how are you?
Yeah, I'm fine. It's me, Chukuma from Eket.
Okay, from Eket.
Yeah, Chukuma.
Okay, Chuks, how are you?
I'm fine.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Afternoon.
Yeah. It's a good thing that Germany has started and that other countries will follow suit because it's been so boring all this while. And I just hope that EPL will follow suit so that the first 2 matches will be played and Liverpool will be crowned champions and just shut the mouth of all
Chuks, you are here again. You told us not to mention Liverpool.
No, I will always mention Liverpool, Ken.
Okay.
Let me commend the guy in the middle for his efforts in sports development.
Yes, Bambo. His name is Bambo Akoni.
Yeah, but sorry, I forgot. I watched him last week.
Yeah.
You guys had him on last week. Yeah, I watched him. I'm so sorry to have forgotten his name. Yeah, please. I really appreciate what you're doing in sports development in Nigeria. I wish you continue. And people like us too have been doing our own little bit in the local scene here, especially where I am. Why I'm saying this, Ken, is because of what you mentioned at the beginning about China's Kids Cup. I'm so excited that you mentioned that it hasn't been cancelled.
I know you guys have been hustling me to be part of the Kids Cup, and I pray that if we can overcome this, your guys can come in and participate.
I hope we will, Ken.
Yeah.
Thanks so much.
Thank you very much, Chooks.
Have a good day, you guys. Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so we are still with you, Bambo. The 4 Ds. How do you recommend that? Because now we're talking about the 3 tiers of government here. Yeah. In all this objective, we're talking about federal, we're talking about state, we're talking about the local governments.
Yes, yes.
Now, the grassroots is the local government level, and that is where it starts. That is where you discover people who want to go to school. Because at the upper level, you are going to those who would have gone to school or probably don't have that opportunity to do so. So, what has been in your drive for making of champions? How do you? I know you do your talent show or stuff. You know, how? What mechanism do you say this is what has been successful for making of champions? This is what I want to recommend for us to be used as a template. Just like in Kids Cup, we found out that the major problem facing Nigerian sports actually is age cheats. We tackled that from the very beginning. In the 3rd edition of Kids Cup, we disqualified the defending champions for fielding overage players. We went to their schools to go and do our investigation, and we did that, and they know that it is 0 tolerance on age cheats. We said this is what we want to do. If we can clean that, if the NFF and other we can use that particular template, we can use it. What template is MOC trying to give to Nigeria to say, in terms of athletics, this is what we can use, and then that is to find our roadmap?
Well, I mean, when we wanted to start looking for athletes, we devised a reality show, which we called Top Sprinter. That happened in 2015. BBC Sports Hour called it the X Factor of sprinting, which was great. Praise for us. But it's a process that really worked. That was how we discovered Jodo Gabriel, who was already the fastest schoolgirl in Lagos at the time. That's how we discovered people like Jerry Jakpa, who was in Warri. If we didn't go to Benin to do auditions, we never would have met him. You know, so that's how we started. Since then, we've more favored what we call MOC Athletics Trials because it's a bit lower budget. It's not a reality TV show. And that's also been very, very effective. We actually recruited about 16 athletes in our last trials in 2018. We couldn't do the trials last year, but from those 16 athletes, we have at least 6 or 7 who could represent Nigeria at the World Junior Championships, the World Under-20, if it happens this year. So we don't know whether it's going to happen yet.
I don't want to talk about Bambo because Bambo, in my discussion with Bambo, and I want to look at this. Bambo, you see, sometimes if you don't talk, you won't get certain things. The effect of this postponement of the Olympics that spilled from 2020 to 2021. And Bambo is now saying, look, in 2021, there wouldn't be that junior championship because that is when the Olympics will be holding. Now, the kids who would have by 2021 still be at that age, will not be able to perform at that level again. And then, Bambo, you have a lot of them there. I mean, I mean, how is your camp? How are they taking it? How are you looking at it? Would they maybe IOC or IWF was okay, fine. Let us grant them 1 year to say, okay, let them do it in 2022. They can do it in 2021. What are you envisaging, and how are these athletes feeling? Okay. Right now, sometimes you don't know how this thing flies. We'll go on another short break. I want to come back. Bambo will be here. He will answer that question and say how he's solving the dilemma of those kids. Okay, you're welcome back. Bambo was there. Now this is China's Classic, the Athletics Classic. And I tell you, it is not just in football. This is part 2. This year, God willing, COVID-19, we shall defy you. I tell you, because before November, I think we should be able to conquer and have the kids back for season 3. And we might just even have both the Kids Cup and the Classic together. Maybe back, at least back to back. Back to back, because talking about back to back, which is what we're talking about here, the Formula One. Just decided, they hit that agreement with Silverstone. With Silverstone, they'll say, okay, we are going to have back-to-back in the British GP. Instead of just one, we have 2. We have 2 races, so they want to talk about safety. Okay, Jimmy, can you take that?
Yes, I'm delighted to confirm that Silverstone and Formula One have reached an agreement in principle to host 2 races behind closed doors this summer. However, these races will be subject to government approval, as our priority is the safety of all involved and strict compliance with COVID-19 regulations. But Pringle, Managing Director, Silverstone. Well, interesting times.
Let me just add one.
Yes.
Because the part of the thing they want to where is that the British government says if you enter Britain, quarantine for 14 days.
For 14 days.
All right, let's go to Ibadan. Would have been Femi, how are you?
I'm very well.
Yeah.
How are you doing, my brother?
We are fine. We're fine.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I'm just have to take you a little bit away from the topic you are discussing.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm sorry about that.
No problem. Go ahead. As long as it's sports.
Before Mr. Bambo will leave the studio, I want him to please talk about this issue regarding all these allegations that have been levied against some of our coaches about the bribery issue. I want his own view on it. And can you please do something about my dear team, 3SC, that is topping the league, the second period of the league in Nigeria? Nothing is being said on it. So far, we're not even talking about the League One. My team is topping the league now. Is there what can we do? But because this is the chance for us to play in the Premier League, I wouldn't want us to miss this chance. We have been struggling. We have been struggling for the past 3-4 years now. Now this is our time. Now no one is talking about this. Can you bring one of these NFF or LMC officials to the studio? Maybe they can shed more light on it. What is their plan going forward? Thank you.
Before you leave, you talk about, I don't understand, he's here, but you said coaches. Which coaches are you? Is there any allegation against any particular coach?
Brown, like few days ago, Brown Ideye, Obasi Obuke, they said something about some of the coaches are like, okay, the team that went to 2014 World Cup, some coaches took bribes. Okay. That was why they were left out of the team, something like that. I want Mr. Bambo, I want his own opinion or his own view regarding these allegations.
All right, but I hope you will be there when they sue him. When they sue him, Femi, get him a lawyer.
No, I think I'll keep it very simple. Yes. A dead man can't defend himself. Yes. I think it's unfortunate. There's the saying that one should not speak ill of the dead. So I've seen some of these allegations in the media. I don't really have any opinion about it one way or the other. I think it's just unfortunate that one of our great names is being dragged through the mud. Okay.
But honestly, I do think that
the other side of it, he talked about 3SC.
Yes.
That this is the time that they would have probably, but I think they said they would conclude the league.
I think this just tells us about the way our football had been in the doldrums. One, the allegation.
Yes, okay.
The allegation, I personally don't think that Stephen Keshi was being alleged directly by Chinedu, Obuke, or Obasi. I personally don't think so. Definitely, we always look at it and say, okay, maybe the coach is always the one that will be blamed. But he said they. At the end of the day, they is not Stephen Keshi. We might say, yes, Stephen Keshi was being targeted when he mentioned it. We might say even when Ike Uche mentioned these things and Tai were coming out to say there had been dirty deals and Silvano Okpala was being interviewed. And he actually did say that he was being, he had attitudinal problems.
Yeah.
So what that meant was that, yes, the coach had problems with some of the players. And you recollect the fact that novices came into that team and delivered for him, and they won. And if Stephen Keshi, as a coach, had been collecting bribes, I don't think he would have been assertive as a personality against the NFF at that time. Because if you were collecting bribes, I don't think you'd be able to.
Let's go to Benue. We have Garba on the line. Hello, Garba.
Good afternoon, Ken. Good afternoon to the guys.
Good afternoon.
You guys are doing fantastic job.
Thank you, Garba.
Let me make my contribution express based on the topic that you guys discussed earlier, issue of education and sports.
Yes.
You see, if you look at our system in Nigeria, I don't think encourage that first thing. I was reading something about one athlete like that, Diana Pittman. She was an athlete, but now she's a medical doctor. That's encouraging. And she started in January toward this pandemic time. You know, when I said I was unfair, my kids are close to me. When they heard the story, they were happy. I watched it in BBC, I think, Al Jazeera like that. It's inspiring. Since an athlete turns a medical doctor, that's what he's supposed to hear in this class. You understand? But let not be because you are an athlete, you are limited to a certain kind of profession. Mostly medical of that caliber. And I calling on our government of Nigeria, look at what we do and believe that whenever you join a sport and education, you see and see that there is a light towards it. You see a student will perform very brilliantly. But in this our society, when we're in school, you look at it, whenever you are in a sport and athlete, they will look at you like an average student, which is not like that. The way even our lecturers will be treating you, you look at it, they look other ways. They look encouraging. They will discourage us. You understand? I want to show that the system will encourage us. You understand? But you join the both sides, education and sport. And whenever we join like that, you see that after your career in a sport, it can work as be a kind of useful to the society in other way around. Have a nice day, Lagos.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Garba.
Critically, Ministry of Education, Youth and Sports, these ministries have a lot to do in terms of inculcating this curriculum. Because at the end of the day, we can say all we want about development of the youth, but if we don't have the right mentality, we don't have the right template, then we are not headed anywhere. Yes, like Bambo did say, and we have been talking about the drafting committee. I hope that they can make it a little bit more representative in terms of getting our sport to work. I didn't see members of sports betting, the sport betting fraternity there, because a lot of monies from lottery is used to fund sports in UK. In Nigeria, we are yet not looking at that, because we need some of those funds to actually get our sports working. Now we are talking about education. How exactly can we ensure we have this curriculum, we have these courses being put right there so that these courses can be at the university level, physical education, infrastructure. At the local government level, you said we're going to talk about it. The 5%, we have not really talked about it. Under normal circumstances,
the 5%,
I'm sorry.
Yes.
Under normal circumstances, local government chairmen are supposed to convoke sports summits at that different levels.
All right, let's take our next caller. Hello. Hello. Okay. I think we lost the caller. We hope we still have time for you to have you. Briefly, like I said, there will be that information that got stuck in my head that we have the 5% is allocated from the local government budget. Actually, that it is not so. What they said is adequate funding. They now said 5% of your budget for sport should be used for maintenance of facilities and infrastructure. 5%. And I tell you, because we'll look at this. I don't want to drag Bambo into this, but subsequently we'll look at this. I just saw the budget. For as long as we have a Ministry of Youth and Sports, sports will never get the funding it deserves. Because from what we get here, over 80% of the budget for Ministry of Youth and Sport goes to NYSC. And then by that, you now have the NIS and the Leadership Center. What remains for sports
is minimal.
Is pittance. It's not minimal. It is pittance. So it is either they change the orientation and fund sport or cut sports entirely out of. The minister, we can have a junior minister, what about this woman taking care of sport, minister for sport, and we now this money is coming to sport. Bambo, go on.
Well, for me, I think the current Minister of Youth and Sports, Honorable Sunday Dare, I think he's done a great job since he came in August. He's, I think, been a breath of fresh air to the industry and really tried to encourage all of us working, in the industry and try to, get things galvanized and get things going, I think they did a palliative for athletes.
Okay, let us go to Lokoja, sorry.
Okay.
All right. Hello.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon. Good afternoon. You are on. Good afternoon.
I'm Edino. I'm calling from Lokoja.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you very much. My own take in all these things is that I want all these big companies in these Nigerians to begin to buy almost all the clubs in Nigeria for us to focus on our sport in Nigeria, our clubs in Nigeria. Because all these our youth these days, they are all looking forward to foreign clubs. What happened to people like Dangote and all these big names in Nigeria? Why are they not buying clubs in Nigeria and let us focus on our sport in Nigeria? So please, please, I want you to look into that, please.
I think it's important to note that, I think following on from what I was saying about the minister supporting, this palliative I was mentioning, he was able to, he's been getting corporate funds, private sector funds into sports, so one of the donors of this palliative that I think about 40 athletes, including a couple of my own athletes, received was the Remo Stars chairman, Kunle Soname. So there are sports-loving Nigerians who are helping these athletes. The minister also floated the Adopt an Athlete campaign ahead of the Olympics, and a lot of the athletes who are preparing for the Olympics have been adopted.
I think they adopt the talent. Adopt the talent has been in Lagos.
Adopt an athlete.
Okay,
so this is different.
Because I know Lagos have been doing adopt an athlete.
I think it's even better for us to have the corporate adopt a sport, because when you adopt a sport, you give total support to the federation. That way, we are not only talking about athletes. Maybe there are a lot more athletes that are not going to get supported. But when you adopt a federation, maybe for example, you talk about Dangote, talk about other big companies. They can always say
those who want to adopt a sport, let them adopt. Those who want to adopt an athlete, let them support however they want to do
it. Federation, but that is where it comes in, because they say, look, you need to have in kind of composing your board, you need technocrats to put in your board. So for every federation, there must be somebody that say your job is to attract funds. That is why you are there. Your job is to develop talent. That is why you are there. So there must be something that you are bringing to the board.
And we have the National Sports Commission back.
So I think...
Don't we have the National Sports Commission?
No,
but that is what the policy talked about, National Sports Commission for the nation. And that is the thing. I've got that objective and we'll put it there.
The companies and the people who want to support sports are out there. We need to create platforms that allow them to.
Exactly.
That is why I mentioned companies like NNPC, SNEPCO have made people like Emmanuel Ojeli, Favour Ekpekpe national champions. That is why we have one athlete in University of Ibadan, Bowo Egbeyemi, who is sponsored by ND Western.
Okay.
And these are long-term scholarships that have supported these athletes for 2, 3, 4 years. And that is what is making them international champions, African champions, and obviously some of them will be at the Olympics. One other thing I wanted to jump back to that we didn't get to talk about was, the juniors. We talked about
we invited you guys to our channel's Classic. So what are you doing? You were there.
We were there, of course.
Yes.
We were very proud.
So you didn't see any of our athletes who adopt. I'm asking you. I'm asking you here. You were there. Yes.
We've seen them all before. But let's take that a step further. The next one, channels should adopt some of them after the event and can give them to us to train.
Ours is okay. We are going now. We are going. But okay, let's say a word, because I'll tell Baba.
Well, maybe next week we'll talk about Vettel, Ferrari, and all the
all the moving around.
Exactly. So
okay, we take up your challenge. We provided a platform for the kids. For football, that we're doing for athletes, and then for athletics, and you are in athletics.
Yes.
So we're inviting you, Bambo, and your team to come in and then adopt, whatever. So you look for sponsors for those that you are adopting, and then so that we can say they can have a future in athletics.
Awesome.
All right, it's been great having Bambo around. There is never enough time for us to do that, but we'll keep on dragging him before COVID-19 I kept him in Nigeria for some time now before he runs to US. So I hope until we meet you next week again, I'm Ken Ochonogo. Have a COVID-19 free Sunday. Stay blessed.